Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
Try again. Can you hear me now? Welcome to What Do You Bring to the Table?
Back in college, I took an acting course with a teacher named Mark Lewis. That class changed my life in many ways. It was more than an exploration of acting. It was an exploration of self, of being human. There was this exercise from his Acting 1 class that I remember called, Do You Hear Me? It worked like this. One actor would deliver a line from a scene we were working on, then pause and ask, Do you hear me? Your scene partner would pause and respond with either, Yes, I hear you, or No, I don't hear you. And if it was a no, you listened and then tried again. Same line, same partner, same work. The point wasn't volume, it was connection. Did it resonate? That exercise has stayed with me because at its core, it wasn't just about acting. It was about being human. Humans connecting with other humans, being present to their work, their lives. And that's the heart of this podcast.
Every episode, we sit down with someone. Through 4 simple questions about life, values, quirks, and passions, we really listen. We're not just listening for the words, but for the story underneath and around them, the values they reveal, the spark that makes each person who they are.
So whether you're a host stepping into this space, a guest, or a listener pulling up a chair, the invitation is the same. Lean in, listen deeply, and discover together,
what do you bring to the table?
Whoa, what do you bring to the table?
All right, everybody. Welcome to What Do You Bring to the Table? This is Brooke Leatherman. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to me today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'm excited because we have our group and guys talk, and we did that whole podcast with about that book, and we reference sometimes the significant others of our group members, and this is Seth's wife.
Yes.
The scruffy one most of the time.
Yes.
We recorded most of it in the winter, I guess, so he would have had...
Yeah, no, I made him shave it off right after the winter.
Nice. That's great. So Brooke is mom, wife, artist. I'm going to say artist because it's true. She
That was very generous.
does
Thank you.
some awesome cake baking, and we've enjoyed many of those over the past few years. And so I just wanted to get her in to share about herself and get to know her a little bit better, and you guys too. So thanks for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I didn't get to say this, but I noticed you were a little nervous about getting to share things and if it'd be worth it, and it's always worth it. I think we're just trying to get to know you here, and I noticed when I'm talking in our big group, everyone else is saying something profound, it seems, but sometimes after I ramble on a bit, I have a nugget here or there, and I don't know, it's good for somebody. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think, I've noticed your group is very eloquent in the way you speak, and you guys have such like deep thoughts. So yeah, I'm hoping I can bring something to the table.
you definitely do, even if it's a little lighter than some of those topics, or in the same vein, because as the questions for this podcast are organized, we're just trying to get to know you, but also like dig it a little bit, and see what makes you tick, and
absolutely,
it's fun. So first off, we're going to start with like what's going on right now, and I think I was going to ask you this question, like what's a challenge you've been working through these days?
Okay. Well, lately, this is where I feel like my life just ain't that interesting, but I'm a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
And so most days tend to look the same. We get up, we do breakfast, and then at some point we'll try to do like an outing in the day. But it's a lot of just, she's not even 2 years old yet, so just playing and taking it easy. It's pretty chill. But I think that in itself can be a challenge at times as well, because for me, I think it can feel monotonous and just not so fulfilling at times.
Sure.
I feel like I miss having something to accomplish in the day. I miss having a task or being at work, and when you clock out, you don't clock out till you finish what you needed to finish. And so I think sometimes it can feel like I'm not doing much or not achieving much. But I know in the long run, like, I'm bonding with her and we're spending these times together so that later on as well, like, she can feel connected to me and safe with me, and just feel secure in her home. But
Yeah.
I think at times it can just feel like every day is the same.
Absolutely. It's kind of like the job that doesn't feel like a job because it's so integrated into your life. It's like literally and figuratively, there's someone attached to you most of the time. And
Yes.
she's getting older now. She's almost 2. Is that right?
She's about like 18, 19 months right now.
Okay. Yeah. So she's got a little ways to go before she's 2, but she's now able to walk and do a lot of things. Does she play on her own at home, or is she pretty close to
I
a
have
mom
to
buddy?
be very close in the vicinity, but she's doing more a little bit on her own. She's so good at communicating right now. Like,
Oh, nice.
her vocabulary has just like grown so much, and so that's been really nice to be able to like actually work through things too now, like when she's upset and be like, can you tell me what's wrong? And like, to an extent she can, but
Yeah.
even that's been like groundbreaking of being like, oh my gosh, we can actually like talk to each other now and like figure out what the problem is. And like, I don't know, it is nice, but
Yeah, that's so helpful. I mean, at the beginning, especially if it's your first, a new parent, being like, what's going on, having to figure out how to communicate with this baby, understand what's going on, what's
Exactly.
wrong, and always doing so much problem solving. It's such a mental task. And
it
so
is. Yeah, exactly. Like, your brain, like my brain never like shuts off in a sense. And like, I think that's been like one of the biggest things I wasn't expecting. It was just like, it's a constant thing. Like, it's a constant worry. It's a constant like stress. It's a constant like, is she okay? Does she need something? Is it this or that? Like, even when she's sleeping, like it never turns off. But I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for her and for what she's brought to our lives. It's changed me in a lot of ways I just don't think I thought it was.
yeah, it's such a different type of task-like job, because with all the extra mental work you're having to do to problem solve, not just for yourself, but also for this little person, you also don't have enough sleep. And so like,
Sleep, what's that?
It's
Yeah.
the worst compound, because if you're working on a super hard problem, it's hard to do anyway. And then if you're trying to do it on half your normal healthy living style, it's such a big change. So talk about how you did that transition, what tools you've found helpful in your becoming a mother for the first time, and working to understand and be healthy yourself.
I think one of the biggest things is my husband. Like, we are definitely a team. And I think having to see that and rely on him and communication and all these different things, like, he's just the biggest supporter. And when I'm having just a really hard time or a tough day, he's always going to be there to back me up and give me my time, because it's very rare that I can just like go take time for myself. And so I know, like, when he sees me like at my limit or I'm struggling, he's just the best supporter in that way. I think just having like community around you is a big thing for when you're stepping into parenthood.
Yeah.
It can feel very isolating. It can feel, just like you're alone in a lot of ways. But if you have people that you trust and people that, you know, are going to pick you up when you're feeling down, I think that's a big thing. I think also just realizing that, like, or I guess something that I realized, I was like, I'm far more capable than I thought. Because I think especially like during the newborn stages, there's moments where you're like, there's no way I can keep doing this. There's no way like I can keep staying up on 2 hours of sleep a night and like she's crying all, like there's just no way I can sustain this, but you have to, like, it's something that you have to just push through. And I think I just found this like, wow, like I'm really strong. Like there's so many things that I thought like, oh, I can't go any further. I can't do this any longer. But like, I think it was just like, wow, like my body is very capable and I was made for this and I can do this. And like, I think there was just like a moment of like appreciation for who I am and like how I was made to be and like what I can accomplish. And like, I think that I've tried to take that with me in like other aspects of life too, of like, not just like giving up when things are super hard, like still trying to like find another way to push through it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Not to mention just the physical part of having a pregnancy and then a birth, as women are super strong in that way. But if you're a stay-at-home parent, the struggle continues, and it is so hard. And I was listening to a different podcast or a summary from Chris where parents who do stay home and have a lot of more interaction with kids and children, the gray matter part of their brains, or the parts that don't work enough, shrinks. So you become super efficient and you actually get better at doing like those hard things and tasks. Wow. So your brain gets smaller when you're a parent, and it actually just because you're better and you're strong. And so you're figuring out how to do it. And that's an amazing thing. And it's cool to see that. And it's good to have like the community around you, like you said, to build your confidence and then realize, oh, I have this too. I can do this. And it's super helpful for home life, but then also in other parts.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're saying. So that is super amazing. And yeah, it's just inspiring to see you when you're around, and then see Seth and how you both are doing. And it seems like you're doing great. And I think that's true. And Eloise is so cute. Oh, she hasn't warmed up to me yet, but I think that's for a lot of people.
Is she? I really need to get her in social settings more often. She loves people. Like, she really enjoys social settings, but you would never be able to tell that she hides it really well.
She does. She does.
But she's learning. She's growing in it.
Oh my gosh. At camp a couple weeks ago, Maggie had so much fun. She was like best friends.
Yes.
With Eloise.
Yes.
She's like, would love to walk around and take care of her. And I think that's awesome for a child to have that opportunity to bond with someone who's younger, because it's like, now I get to act in the way. And I think for them, it's kind of similar to a stay-at-home parent, or what their older siblings get is that time to grow and learn how to take care of another human being, to be compassionate, to be helpful, and reduce their green matter in their brain. So that was super fun to see. And it's super fun to see that just the enjoyment of having kids around, the energy. And I like how it makes me feel sweeter, more tender, and like attentive to life, and slow down instead of thinking, oh, what's the next thing I need to do? It's just like take time and be present and enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Have you been able to do that over the years?
I think that's a hard question at moments. At moments I have, at other moments it's harder to do that. Sure. But I think with Eloise, and I'm pregnant right now. But I think, especially after finding out I was pregnant, I think I've been trying to be more aware of just taking in those slow moments and just being present in those. Because Eloise and I, we're only going to be Eloise and I for so long now, and then there's going to be another little baby with us. So I'm trying to take more joy in those moments when it is a slow day and it's just us playing on the ground together, and just just soaking it in and like taking advantage of it. But
that's good. Yeah. It's life can fly by. Like, there's a saying, it's the days are long, but the weeks are short. Yeah. So it's like
it's
hard to remember. Hard to remember what you did last week, but today is like taking forever, and it's a blessing and a challenge at the same time. That's awesome. So with parenting and with growing up, this is something I find interesting about you, is you and your parents lived in Papua New Guinea?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. For a while. I don't know what period of time. And so you've had quite a different upbringing or experience than most people in this area of small western Nebraska.
Yeah.
So how has that shaped your values, and what are some of those values that maybe have shifted over time because of distance or just growth in maturity?
Yeah. So growing up in Papua New Guinea, I was there for 6 years, and I graduated high school there. So it was some very formative years, I would say. And I think when I look back on my time there, it's complicated. There are so many like amazing memories I have and so many amazing takeaways I have from my time there. Just the culture, the people, how life was lived there. It was slower. And that's definitely different from here because it's very fast paced here and it's very like, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then after that, you do the same thing the next day and you're just very task oriented, but they're very relational. And I think that's something that I can take away from that is just the value in being close with people around you, the value in having a close support system, the value in sharing what you have. They didn't have a whole lot. It was a third world country. And so a lot of families, you know, they would live in a village together and the families would stay together. And then maybe for different jobs, they would go into town and work, or maybe some of them would just have gardens. And everything you had was for the family. Everything you made, you would share with everyone. And so I think just the value of family, it was a really beautiful thing to see because you don't really see that here very often. I mean, you can. I think it's just a little bit harder. I think some of the struggles with living there, coming back, I have been able to kind of work through them a little bit. And I think maybe that's where some of my values have changed and the things I held that were important at that time now aren't so much anymore. I think, I don't know like how specific you want me to get into that, but I just...
However much you're comfortable with.
Yeah, like, so my parents were missionaries, so it was a very like religious environment. It felt like a high control environment. Not so much just like my parents. They were, you know, very kind and loving and open with us, but it was the mission itself, I would say. And so it made it difficult being a teenager living in a place where you had really no control over your own decisions.
Yeah.
You didn't have the opportunity to even make mistakes. And you were told what being good looked like. And you were shamed if you didn't fall into that. And so I think shame was a huge tool growing up. Yeah, shame and guilt. And so I think for me, one thing that I'm going to take away from that is I'm not going to use that with my family, with my kids. When they do something wrong, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to shame them and make them feel less than for it.
Yeah. I don't have quite the same experience, but in the sense, my dad was a principal at a Christian school. So, MKs and PKs are kind of like a thing at Christian college where I went. And so did you find like there was a lot of pressure on you to be better because you were like an example to others, like who you're trying to reach? And if you weren't, that was a poor reflection, not only on you or your family, but like of the religion, the culture that you were trying to, I don't know, impress or to teach about.
Absolutely. I think, as a kid, I don't know if I could have put it into words back then, but there was a huge weight I felt. Because everything was watched. You were on a small base.
Yeah.
And there was no secrets. Everything was watched. If you were walking out around, everyone knew. Like, if you were hanging out with someone, they knew. So, like, you couldn't do anything without it being passed around. And so every move was scrutinized. Anything you wore was scrutinized. Anything, like, it was just, there was a lot of responsibility to uphold this good Christian standard. And I think I felt it more for my parents of their reputation.
Sure.
Because there were so many people back home that were a part of this, as like essentially, because they were our support team. They were part of the church. They sent us over there for this mission, this goal. Right. And I didn't want to mess it up. I didn't want to do anything to jeopardize it. And I didn't want to complain too much to sacrifice like God's message.
Yeah. It's a fear of failure. So like fear, guilt, and shame aren't maybe the forward-facing biggest ideas in that kind of a culture sometimes, but they are the biggest underlying kind of like pillars, which is tough. And I find that was true for me too. really hard. Did you find that guilt and shame were maybe used during the evangelism process? Where was that impressed upon the people you were trying to connect with and reach and be relational with?
I think with that, I wasn't exposed to that side of it as much because each person was there for a different reason, I suppose. So like we had the people that were actually in the villages, in the tribes, like preaching the gospel and evangelizing. We weren't on that role. We were a support role. And so my dad would go out on bush builds, and he would build houses for people and build churches and make it so that those people could go and do that. Gotcha. And so I got like little tastes of like the evangelism and stuff when we would go out, and we would go to like maybe the native schools, and we would go like hang out with them for a little bit. But I was never one to be like, do you know about Jesus? Like that was just never my personality. I was also very introverted, so it was harder for me to like go out and just like say these things.
Absolutely.
But I think it's definitely probable that that was in the mix for the people that were doing it. I think it's hard for it not to be sometimes.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so since you weren't actively out there all the time in being investing in relationships with these people, you could see it, but you weren't a part of it all the time. So that made it even more difficult. It seems to me that it would be more difficult so that when you do come in, you're a new face. You are like someone new who's actually another example of this thing that they've been told. And so there's even more pressure because it's not like a thing where you get to relate to these people as people and they don't get to see you as a person. You're some idyllic version of this.
Yeah, thing. I think it was very just like, it was harder. Yeah, it was harder to get to know these people for like who they were and just to like have a normal friendship, a normal relationship where you would just like talk about whatever, you know, and just like, it was harder to build it naturally. It was just like this thing of like, hi, I'm here technically to tell you about Jesus. And like, it was just an awkward thing, I would suppose. Like, it was just, it was interesting to learn how to interact with them. And it shouldn't have been. It should have just been a normal relationship. But,
it comes with already some preconceptions, or there's no blank slate. You're already like, there's some idea of what you're supposed to be already from you, from those who sent you, and from the people who are encountering you, which is hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's awesome. That I do hear though that relationship is like huge, and building that is really effective for community and growth, and for even teaching like young ones and your kiddos. And that's really important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Like, even though growing up, like I struggled with relationships with certain people, I also had some of the closest relationships I've ever had in my life. And I think I miss that because as an adult, I think it is a little bit harder to go out and find those relationships and make friends. And especially now with like kids, it's just life gets busy. It gets hard. It's harder to find those spaces that you can just go and find, you know, people with commonalities and hang out and connect. Yeah. But I miss it, and it's something I desperately want in my life. And I think it's so healthy. I think it makes life more joyful. I think it makes it more fulfilling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think growing up in that time when my dad was the principal at that school, I felt like I had the biggest community of my life, and it was so secure. Being little and young, growing up in it, it's hard because you're not capable of taking care of yourself quite yet, but having a lot of people around you that are like-minded in a way, or kind of have a similar background and similar interests, and then also a compassion and joy to be with you and to like take care of each other in that way is so empowering, I think. And I just felt like I could do anything with anyone, and I could ask any question or do any task, because if I asked to do it, I would have help, or I could engage with anyone from the school, in the school, parents at the school, and they'd be like interested, engaged, and wouldn't like blow me off. Is that excuse me? Is that something you felt while you were in the mission?
To an extent, yeah. I think it just builds your confidence to have people close to you, to have a community that you can share your life with. But I think I had to be a little bit more cautious because I couldn't be that vulnerable with everyone in my community. I think when religion comes into play, it can get a little more sticky. It can get harder because some people have very, very strong convictions, and that's okay because if those are their convictions, like live that out. But I think because it was kind of just this melting pot of people from all over the world. And from different denominations, and people had different beliefs, but we were all there for one purpose. And that is like a beautiful thing in and of itself. But it just gets more complicated because, so I'm trying to be very kind about this because there really was just such beautiful people over there. But it was hard when those people that had maybe very strong convictions about something that maybe I didn't have or my friends didn't have, you're the minority most of the time. And then it feels like you're kind of singled out, and it feels like you're doing something wrong when maybe you're not really doing anything wrong. And it feels like you need to change yourself to fit in, and it feels like maybe you need to hide yourself away a little bit so that you don't get judged. So there was, sorry, I guess that's a very like negative way to say that, but there was so many beautiful friendships I had, but there were just people that I had to be very cautious around as well.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I get that. So in that way, it's dissimilar to my upbringing and more similar to what I'm feeling now, because as going through Christian college, it was a non-denominational college, so there was a suite of different denominations and ideas. And when it comes to, I think, religion and politics, those two specifically that I've noticed here, it can get intense. It can get fiery. And I think it's partially because it's such a core part of life. And it's from the way you live, and it's, if this isn't true, then what is true, or what does that mean for life? And it's shaking of a core confidence, of a certainty that is very difficult. Like if you've been functioning in this way as I was, and then something that you had believed was not true, it's scary because who knows what would happen. And so I find that with my parents and my family of days late, that can be almost the worst conversations if it's about politics or living life in a religious way or just a belief way. That if we don't agree, that it's concerning. It's always concerning, and that's hard. And it's like a pressure of like, can I be myself, or can I do what I want to do without feeling guilty myself from these people? And then can I feel not guilty in my own being to live the way I want to? And that's difficult.
No, I resonate with that so much. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I think we probably had similar moments where we were going along in life, and then something was like, let's ask a question here and let's unpack that a little bit. And then it shakes your whole world when you find out maybe there's not an answer to it. Maybe it's a different answer than what you thought this whole time. I think when I had that moment, I literally, for months, was just in panic attacks. I was struggling so much because it literally felt like reality was just like pulled out from underneath me. And everything I thought was true, there was just uncertainty that was like replaced with it. And I think, like I've worked through that enough now to where I'm okay with the uncertainty. There's still days and moments where maybe it creeps up again and I'm like, oh no, but I think I'm more okay with, you know what, like just live in the moment and just live with what you value, what you find as truth. And I think I've decided that I'm not going to have any beliefs that are brought about from fear.
That's
and I
good.
think that was a big thing for me before, was I believed things just out of the fear of what happened if I didn't believe them.
Yeah.
And so I think when I have that fear, like, and that anxiety creep up again, I'm like, it might still be there, but I'm not going to accept it again just because I'm afraid of it.
Right. That is so good. That is so good. Boom. There's mic drop. That's our no. Yeah, that's so good. I 100% believe that. Yeah, I don't believe in the weight of guilt or the weight of shame being a driving factor or a convincing, compelling argument. Yeah, if what I grew up believing is true was that God is love and that God is kind, like, I don't think that the opposite or the way of fear, the way of guilt and shame to bring about that is a way to live in. And by show of proof, when I lived that way, it was so much harder to live confidently, but also to do what I wanted to do. And then I would feel guilty because I would do something that wasn't so helpful for me or whatever. And I think that's the heart behind the fear and guilt and shame, but it's like 2 steps removed. So it's like the core is good, but then it's the way it's brought about is through not so good a means, trying to get a good result. And I think we can go around that. It's more compelling. Like, you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's funny because that's a trope used many times in our kind of Christian cultural upbringing. But it can be lost. So
yeah,
that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I think I think you're right on with all of that. That's so funny.
Yeah. So that's hard. But I want to continue with the upbringing and having different backgrounds and cultures. What are some of your quirks, your guilty pleasures, your small joys that you enjoy now that may have been brought about from then, but also just define you and who you are and make you feel content and complete in yourself?
I feel like I'm not a very quirky person. Like, I don't have any like secret hidden, like, ooh, this is kind of weird that I like. Like, I don't know. I guess just from like the exposure I had from growing up of like traveling. I love traveling. I love meeting different people, going to different places, trying different food. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's not like a unique thing, but I love food. Like, I love trying different food. And so I think the exposure to going, like, traveling around the world and stuff, like, brought that like love out in me and stuff. So I think that's something I really enjoy. Yeah, I don't know if I have like many different like quirks or interests. Like, I think you wouldn't even say it's weird. Like, I have a grandma hobby where I like puzzling, but like there's nothing really like weird about.
No, it's all a matter of perspective. Yeah. It's what do you find guilty versus not guilty, quirky versus what someone else might find quirky. Yeah. And I know we're about to talk to Hunter next week. And she's like, as you were saying, today's all going to be about motherhood and stay-at-home mom.
Yes.
And she's like, it's going to be all about knitting and crocheting is what I do. And I was like, well, that's great because we want to know about that part of your life. That's what makes you you. And it might be a quirk to somebody, but it's your passion, it's your fire, and it's great.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I love that. I love traveling, and the food is amazing, and the people. I think the people are fun because you get it's that relationship, and then they teach you about their thing, their culture, and how they were brought up, and it gives me a sense of humility that I like because of growing up in that culture where I was so firm and consolidated for years, 15 years. That was my whole childhood, so like the most major stages of growth in my life, and then going to public high school and then going off to college, that was filled with different modes of the religion, was like so eye-opening. And I find I enjoy that part of travel where my eyes get open because it starts with relationship first. And then you get to really understand what makes those people tick and enjoy the things they enjoy because that's what they're trying to show you, and they're trying to participate in your life that way. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. Like, you can learn so much from traveling and seeing the way people live and the way they interact with other people. But I think bringing back to like religion, like church here in America looks so different than church probably anywhere else in the world.
Sure.
In Papua New Guinea, it was just a gathering of people that like came to like see each other again. And it was, they still had, you know, like the worship, and they still had, you know, like the sermon, but it was just more relaxed, and everyone sat on the floor, and then you could still like the kids could go play in the same room, and like it just wasn't so structured, and it wasn't so like you felt like you were doing something wrong if you like if you stood up or if you went and talked to someone or whatever. And I think I struggle, like I've tried like church again recently, and I've wanted to get back into it a little bit, but I hate the structure of it here. I hate that it has to look the same way every single Sunday. And I think like one of the things I remember about church over there was you could hear it on Sundays, because they would sing, but it wasn't just like singing, it was wailing. They would just wail from their heart. Like they just, whatever they felt, you could just hear it, and it would just be pouring out of the hills. And it was just a beautiful sound, and I loved it. And not that, you know, music here isn't beautiful too, but there was just, it's so different. And it was, I'm so thankful I got to experience that.
Yeah, that's awesome. The structure is definitely something that is here in America, as schools, as churches, as businesses and institutions. They like, it's so based upon a step-by-step kind of process. And I've noticed other places in the world, it's more, it flows a lot more, like you're saying. And especially if you get into the islands where Papua New Guinea is, and the South Pacific, and they just have, what I love is you can experience this in Hawaii, but also like in the South Pacific, it's what they call island time. It's just like relaxed. There's no one's in a hurry.
Yes.
No one's trying to get anywhere fast. And it's just about experiencing it and being one with whatever you're doing. And they're good at being present.
Yeah.
And I think that's something great about their culture, and then their way of experiencing God and religion and community.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really good. And so that's fun. I know it might have been hard. You've traveled recently, but not in the same way. You've moved to Omaha and back in the last 5 years, right?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, yes. And what kind of other trips have you been able to take around?
Just really small ones. Like we've been to Colorado a few times. We've been to South Dakota. We've been Wyoming. We went to Missouri. And they're usually small ones, and they're usually for maybe like family events or a wedding or something like that. But after travel being like a lot of my life for so long, was like going all over these places, and then coming back and being stuck in one spot. Like, I mean, it felt stuck.
Sure.
I've really struggled with that. And our town is great. It's beautiful. There's a lot of like great things about it, but it is very limited in what it offers, I think. It's not very diverse, I would say, even in like activities or food. It's very limited. Yeah. And so I think Seth and I, like, I'm so thankful that he has like the same desire for me to like go out and try new things and see different things. And when we decided to move to Omaha, that was one of the big things, was like, we just want to like try something new. We want more options. We want more diversity of people. And I loved Omaha. Like, that was, honestly, I'm so thankful we did it. It was only for a year. But the experiences I had while I was there, like, will stay with me for the rest of my life. I met like my best friend there. We worked in a bakery together, which also, that I think helped fuel my fire for like, this is what I want to do, is baking as well.
Nice.
But the reason we came back was because we decided we wanted to have kids. And I felt like, as a first-time mom, I needed like support from my family. I needed a community. Yeah. And so that's why we came back. But yeah, I think Omaha will always be a special place. Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. I was going to say, with the addition of kids, it is much harder to travel. But it's also a joy to take them places. And I know having Eloise at camp in South Dakota was a great adventure for all of you, but also for all of us who got to experience you all there.
what are some things that, how would you like to travel in the future? What are some ideas, some bucket list items maybe that you would want to do in that vein?
I think I want to do it more regularly. And I don't necessarily like have like Disneyland on my list or like big theme parks like that. Like, I think it's more so just like maybe a cabin in the woods or the beach, or more so just like changing our environment. And maybe it is maybe like a bigger city one time, maybe getting our kids to like some exposure to that.
Yeah.
But I think just like changing your environment can do so much for like your mental health, and just like it can teach you things. Yeah, and I think that's something I really want our kids to have, is just exposure to like what life could be for them in the future and what they want and what they enjoy.
Yeah, that's really good. It can be somewhat of a hard reset, but also a challenge to like get into a place that is unfamiliar, but also safe and welcoming and available for different activities.
Yeah.
Lots of people in Western Nebraska in different towns say there's nothing to do here. And so going to a big city or another place is an adventure to do some of those things.
Yeah.
And that's good and fun.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So finishing up our last question, let's see what we got. Okay, yeah, I'm going to stick with this one. What is a passion you've had since childhood that's never really left you?
Okay, I think with that one, I'm going to be vague at first and just say art.
Okay.
I think it's taken different forms as I've grown up, but I think it's always been something that's like brought joy, or when I'm in a moment of just boredom, or when I'm feeling sad or just feeling uninspired, it's always brought itself back around. And I think at first maybe it was drawing, then it was crafting, then it was painting, then it was trying clay, then it was trying needlepoint, baking, cooking. And I think baking is kind of finally where I've like really resonated with it. Yeah, I think so. Like growing up in New Guinea, we had very limited selection of like what we could get in stores, what we could cook, what we could bake. And so when I graduated high school and came back, I think I was just like, whoa, like when I walked into the stores, like there's so many ingredients, there's so many different things you could do. And so I think that like reignited my passion for that, and like just trying different things. And then just seeing like how actually like artistic you can make things look and how beautiful it can be.
Yeah.
And I think that ties in also with just like, I love making someone feel special.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
making something tailored to a person. And so the fact that I can make maybe more specifically like a cake for someone's birthday or for an event, and I can include details that makes them feel seen, or makes them like, oh, you're right, I did like that one, or I enjoy these things, or this flavor, this like color, I don't know, just whatever it is. I like someone feeling like they were seen in a moment.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I think that speaks to you as a person. You're so enthusiastic that I've seen, and you're so compassionate towards other people. And I think that comes from your relational background and the joy you had experienced growing up in Papua New Guinea and all around your family. And giving that to other people is a great joy in your life. And cakes is definitely a way I see you doing that. And that's what you're saying you enjoy. I can't even... I'm not sure how many you've made for the Rose Buddies and their clan and their kiddos. But I know every time they are so happy and they are so thankful that you do it. And then also it's a place where people can gather around. It is like a party, like you said, a birthday party usually. And it's always fun to see people enjoy it because you're always invited here, which is great. And it's a wonderful experience to get to share that moment with people.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think, so the boys here, Maya and Charles, I think, well, even like Maggie and Ailey, like they're like my biggest supporters. Sometimes it feels like when I make like a birthday cake for them or something, like, and I hear like, oh wow, this was like spot on, or this totally represents it. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need you guys in the kitchen when I'm decorating, because I can be like so hard on myself, being like, this is not right, this does not look good, this. And then just like, I just wish I could experience those more moments with like all my customers, but maybe they take it home, they show their family, and like people like it. Like I think I'm a harsh critic, but I think those moments they make me happy.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's something I can resonate with is like a harsh self-criticism, and that might have come from our upbringing in the way, the kind of culture where you're on a pedestal a little bit. But yeah, to have the confidence of other people, especially kids. Oh my gosh, it's so
They're like the
nice.
biggest hype man. Yeah, it's awesome.
So great. Yes. Oh, I don't remember whose party. I think it was Chris's birthday party. Actually, we were all just sitting outside and on the chairs in the front, and the kids, Sunny, Maggie, Charles, and Eliana and Zion were playing like the washer toss game, and they had moved it closer because it was farther away from with the adults, but they moved it closer and they were throwing it, and they're on teams, and every time it got close or in, the kids, Sonny was the greatest because he's like, maybe, I almost went in. And then when it did go in, everyone was like, yeah, whoa. It's like, it was without fail every time, without hesitation. It was just like the biggest joy to see or get close to the goal, and it was so much fun to watch. And they're amazing.
Honestly, I feel like that goes back around to like you can learn so much from kids, and like they support each other and they celebrate, and like they make it like this huge deal. And like, what if we did that with each other? Of like you maybe did something you thought was like a small accomplishment, or like, oh my gosh, like congrats, like that's awesome. And just like, how much joyful would life be?
Yes.
Like if we just like celebrated each other like that.
Celebrate the small victories and celebrate with enthusiasm. And, and a genuineness. I think that's a hard thing to get nowadays for myself sometimes with a group. If you're not close, to like have a genuine joy and enthusiasm for the other person. Yeah. And it is fun because like when we lift each other up, anyone, it's what do they say? A rising tide lifts all boats. And I think that's a great picture, and I would love to keep doing that to others, and you definitely do that, Brooke, for those who are here, and I hope we do that for you. Yes. And so it's just been a wonderful to have you around, and we enjoy you, and that's why I invited you here today, because it's true. I want you to feel seen also and enjoyed and get to share your awesome self with everyone else. So
thank you.
Thanks for coming and doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks.